set my little character. But I want to know, again, to make sure that you understanding the parts of the head, right? We talk about using the different reference points often, right? So I need to know that you guys are up to par with understanding and knowing what the reference points are, right? All right, so when we talk about the highest peak, the highest point at the top of the head, what does that refer to? Raise your hand. What is that?
Apex.
All right, apex. All right, when we talk about when you start to get to the round of the back of the head, what are we talking about? What is that area here?
Crown.
Crown. All right, so this area here, that prominent area, or the prominent bone, right to the back of the head, what is that point? Occipital. Occipital. All right. Now, when we come to this head here, and when I put my comb on the side of my client's head, and right where the head detaches from that comb, what is that point called? I need somebody that have answered. What is that point called? Somebody that have not answered.
Parietal ridge.
Parietal ridge. All right. Yesterday we was talking about the areas of the taper and then the fade we was talking about. But we was also talking about the area and the placement. What was that placement that we was talking about where the fade, the taper and the fade would be at?
Is it the temporalis?
Was that?
Temporalis?
Temporalis. All right. And then when we come here is what this area would be right here. What is the term for that area?
Frontalis.
Frontalis. All right. So these are pretty much the basic reference points that we'll often use anytime we're doing haircuts or doing certain services. I might say, okay, start at the occipitalis, or, you know, work your way up to the crown, or, okay, so we need to start understanding these points, because when understanding these points, you understand where your cuts need to be at, right? So if I was to say, all right, we don't want to cut Jose hair up above the parietal ridge more than 2 inches. You need to understand and know what that is going to be. Where is that placement going to be at? So if I'm saying that, that means with Jose here, if I go and I place my comb on his head, and right where his head detaches from the comb here would be my point of my parietal ridge, I need not to go less than 2 inches above this point. It would not be here. It would not be any lower. It would be, again, right here at the parietal ridge area. Okay, now, possibly, if you get to the state board and you cut more than 2 inches above that parietal ridge, you done messed up your cut and you done failed. Because now you have what we need on top. What's the least that we have on top?
3 inches.
3 inches, right? So if you got 3 inches on top and you've done went shorter than 2 inches at the parietal ridge area, what's gonna happen? What does that look like?
Kind of looks like a bowl.
It looks more like a bowl, and it's a disconnect, right? That's what we call a disconnect. So all of this is going to be short here. This is going to be long, but where's the taper at? It would not be a taper. It would not be a taper. So therefore, for the state board purpose, you would not pass, right? So we got to make sure that we're understanding the different points, right? The apex. Now, when you get to the state board, what the state board do to determine if you had the proper length, and they'll use a ruler just like this, clear on both sides, same exact one. They're not going to start from the frontalis. right? They're not gonna start from the frontalis. Where are they gonna start?
The crown?
The apex.
The apex. So how do we find that apex? Place the comb or the ruler right at the top of the head, and right at that point where it's at the highest and we see that the comb is, or the ruler is pivoting right at that top, that's where the apex will be. So this here would be the apex, the top point. So what the state would do, they're gonna go in right there at the apex, and they're gonna pull up and see if you are right. At this point, let me put my glasses on because I can't even see the numbers on the rule. All right, so we at the apex, and I'm gonna work with hair right from the apex, and I'm gonna stretch this hair up. And what I see is almost 6.5 inches of hair. All right, so that's 6.5. So I got a good amount that I can take off, but I do not want to go lower than what? 3 inches on top. I do not want to go lower, right? So now, if I do 3 inches on top, 2 inches right at the parietal ridge, and then I do 1 or 1.5 inches below the parietal ridge, what do I get? I get my tapered effect. Again, this is what it looked like.
Is the parietal ridge flat, like a straight line all the way around the head?
All the way around the head.
Okay.
It's all the way around the head. All right? So, again, we got 3 on top. So we can say that's that 3 inches, right? I'm gonna erase this temporalis. All right, so that's our 3 inches there. Then we come right at the parietal ridge, and here we go with our 2 inches. Right? Then we become below the parietal ridge, we come with our 1.5. Now you can see the tapered effect as it comes around. You got long, short, and shorter. That's what the state wants. That's what the state board wants. So another way that you would be able to find out, because you can do it before the state board does it, right? You would be able to take your mannequin, and since I got them draped, I ain't gonna take them and do it. But I would take my mannequin after I did my work, then I'll take it off the stand, and I take it and shake it upside down. And when you shake it upside down, you should see the hair fall and flow in that tapered effect. That's what the state board looking for. That's what they're looking for. They're not looking for all the little intricate, fancy stuff. They just wanna see the tapered effect. That's how they're gonna judge if you pass or fail. Now, if you cut it too short on the sides and you was to do this upside down, it's not gonna give you a tapered effect because it's gonna be short around here and all this is gonna be long. So clearly it would not look like the light bulb effect. Again, the light bulb effect, what they'll be looking for, basically, we know what the light bulb looks like. It ain't the best light bulbs, but again, that's what they're looking for. That tapered effect is round. Now, when we do an afro, when I show you guys how to cut an afro, it's the same thing. They want to see that round effect, that tapered effect. When they understand and see that you know how to do the tapered effect, it's basically any cut that you do is going to be, done. All right? So, I'm going to go ahead and get a 2-hour cut. Let's see, I got it.
Is this the exact cut that we have to do?
Yeah, this is going to be the exact state board cut that y'all going to have to do when you go to the state board. All right? Now, when cutting hair with shears, all the time, you want to make sure that you use wet hair. All right? Make sure the hair is wet when you're using shears. Okay? Now, with experience, yes, you can do certain cuts without it and all, but again, I'm going to show y'all first thing that we want to do is go ahead and separate my top above the parietal ridge from the bottom. All right? So if I'm going to separate my top and bottom, what am I doing? What am I going to do now? I heard somebody say it over here. Horseshoe effect. All right? So I'm going to come right at my parietal ridge. Start to make my parting. Again, this is where your parting techniques start to come in, and that's why we always keep working on them parting techniques, because it's going to play a part of your time and when you get to the state board. Do anybody know how long you get for the haircut process?
30 minutes.
30 minutes. And if it takes you 20 minutes to part,
You better get
might as well
chopping
go ahead
real
and
quick.
say, I ain't gonna say you failed, but you better have a pretty good system with how you're gonna go about doing that haircut. All right. So again, the more you're parting, the more effective you are with your parting, the easier it'll be with timing.
We gotta do that at state boards, put clips on our,
What's that?
are we allowed to put clips on our coats? I do it here, so we allowed to do it.
Well, I haven't heard anything about them not allowing that, so.
Okay.
As long as they're clean and you're not putting them on person after person, it should not be a problem. But I guess that might be a question that I want to ask. It never have come up. That question has never come up. But that might be a question that I need to ask.
Because I know
Just to be
putting
on
your
the safe
comb
side.
in your pocket is a sanitation.
Yeah, if you put your comb in your pocket, that's
That's what I was asking,
against
is that-
sanitation. Yeah.
Are you not supposed to do that?
No, you're not supposed to put combs in your pocket.
I know that.
And you see some barbers, they'll walk around and have their comb right here in the pocket, because you got to think about it. You got so much different hair that falls into that pocket. So you don't want to put yourself in that position.
Get out of that habit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Because that happens. I'm telling you, I was doing it in the shop for so long. It just felt right, but it wasn't right.
It's almost just more convenient.
So you just put it down in the station and we
Yep.
can pick it up every time.
We had that biggest thing, state board sanitation.
Right.
That's like the number one thing. is cleanliness. You don't have rubber gloves? I just got it in the mail. I got black, but I didn't get the right ones.
Now, am I going to be trying to make my parting just so perfect?
I was just gonna ask,
Mannequin,
do
huh?
they grade you by the
No, you don't. No, they're not grading you on how well your parting is. What are they grading you on?
the cut,
Inches.
The cut, taper
and the
cut.
timing?
All right. I don't like that.
So it's
All right, so again, I want to make sure that I got my client leveled up enough to the point where it's not too low for me, it's not too high for me. When we're operating on a client, our hands should be where?
At your heart.
Your heart.
Heart rate. Should be at the level of your heart. Because if you're working too low, it's going to bother your back. If you're working too high, it's going to bother your back because you're stretching and reaching. If you're working here, it's a comfortable space, right? It's a comfortable space to be able to rest your body on your thighs and your heels of your shoes, right? So again, that's super important ergonomically, because doing 5 and 10 cuts like this back to back to back, you need to make sure all your ergonomics are correct. Because if not, after that first one, you're gonna feel like you need to sit down, all right? It's gonna feel like a true workout. All right, so with my client here, what I'm gonna do first is flat top comb. I have a black top comb up here. I can use that one. Thank you. I'm getting used to my placement where everything is and where everything goes up here. So I can visually see and know what's going on with my stuff.
We gotta bring our own in.
It's right there. All right. So I got a few ways that I can go about this, but when working on it, the timing at the state board, and you got a lot going on, do you want to make this difficult or do you want to make it hard for yourself?
Easy.
I'm sorry, it will.
I'm like,
Do you want to make it difficult or do you want to make it easy for yourself?
easy. I'm like,
All right. So making it easy, how would I approach this first? How would you think I would approach this first to make it easy?
wet the hair.
Not wetting the hair.
You're gonna start
Start
down
cutting off all the bottom.
Clip over comb.
Debulk first.
Debulk, right? Now, how am I going to debulk? Or
Or shear.
Take a big clipper guard.
Clippers, yeah. Or the two.
or the guards. Clip over comb or the guard. Now, the way that I can control it more is how? Clip over comb. Because if I go with that guard, I might go a little bit too low. Or that guard might possibly pop off at that time. So the way that I can control it and the length that I want to leave and that I need there, the way that I can control that is clip over comb. All right. So I'm gonna go with the plays because they're a pretty good tool that cuts fast and cut through a lot of bulk real easy. Right. So again, below the parietal ridge or at the parietal ridge, I want to have how much hair?
2 inches.
At least 2 inches. All right. At least 2 inches. Down at the bottom, going around towards the nape area, how much hair do I need to have there?
1 inch.
1.5.
Right at the occipital area.
1.5.
1.5. Right? Then below that is going to be, again, tapered out at the neckline. Right? It's going to be tapered down at the neckline. All right? So at this point, I'm going to just go ahead and just debulk real quick. All right? I'm going to debulk. But making sure I'm not debulking too much.
Can you explain this a bit how you know when you're debulking too much or not?
Because it's going to be shorter than the lengths required. We just talked about you're going to have your 2,
Right, that would be a 2, right?
your 1.5,
Right.
then below the occipital is going to be your 1. So if you go lower than any of those, it's too low. All right? Again, going in, just debulking. And debulking don't have to be no particular pretty style or anything of that nature. Just, like I say, getting the hair out of your way.
So it's quicker to do the clipper over comb instead of scissor over comb?
If you do shear over comb, that's totally on you. It's totally up to you, what you're comfortable with doing. All right? It's what is easy for you. All right? Now, if you notice, I'm keeping my comb at an angle. I'm holding my comb at an angle, so as I'm cutting, I'm already tapering. All right? Now, if I just go in and do this number and just, I don't have no room for mistakes. All right? So again, I'm going in here and just,
Can you come back from that if you do that? Like
What
if
you
you
mean?
do it, if you hold that comb or
no, you can't. I'm gonna tell you can't come back from it. Somebody with experience can, but you can't come back. I'm gonna tell you can't come back from that.
Even with experience, you ain't gonna be able to come back state.
Yeah, state board, you still not gonna come back.
Already cut too much off.
All right? And again, understand your mannequin is gonna get caught up. The plastic and the comb, all that type stuff, it'll be getting caught up. All right. So basically what I did was went on and debulked super fast, get that on out the way. All right. At state board for purpose time, time and purpose, that'll probably took me about 4 minutes, 5 minutes, because I'm thinking my 30 minutes. All right. So that's gonna take me about 4 or 5 minutes. Okay. Again, I want y'all to do it easy, not make this difficult. All right, so now I'm gonna go with my highest guard that I have, which is gonna be my 7. I have a 7. That's my highest guard that I have right here, 7. All right, so with this 7, I'm gonna start at the nape area and I'm gonna work my way up and right below the parietal ridge. All right, watch. I'm gonna go open. I'm gonna go in, scoop it out, work my way around. Right at the ear, I'm keeping it on the ear. Working my way around. Stand below the parietal ridge as I go in and make my strokes out. Same thing on this side, using the right of my tool, keeping these last 3 on my client's ear. Work my way around.
And the state board, you can't pre-do anything to the
Nothing.
mannequin.
Nope. You can't pre-cut nothing. This mannequin needs to come in just how it is right here.
Mr. B.
All right.
Do you mean the parietal ridge or the occipital?
Occipital. What I said?
Parietal ridge. I was like, I don't want to
Occipital.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stand below the occipital. You can heel out. Because now, like I say, with this, now I can go in with my shear work and start to just tie in everything just off my angles. All right? Everything is pretty much going to be off of an angle now. So now I can come in and wet my client's hair. All right, comb through. All right, and I want to make sure that I got it saturated pretty good, because every time I reach back and grab the water bottle, what's happening? Time is still a factor. Time is still a factor, and I don't want y'all to act like you got all day, because you don't. All right, so at this point, when I come to my side here, I go in, I make this angle cut, which is gonna be a vertical line, make my vertical parting. Now, as I comb this hair out, what is this gonna be? Once I cut this, what is this gonna be?
Your guide.
What guide?
Stationary.
Stationary, right? It's gonna be my first stationary guide right here. So again, I make my parting. I take my fingers and you see how I'm rolling and pushing my knuckles out. So if I'm pushing my knuckles out to be able to cut at an angle, the hair should fall at what?
At an angle.
At an angle. Good job. So I'm gonna,
That's a triangle effect going down the side of the head.
yes.
Yeah, I wasn't pulling out when I was doing lines right here. So it wasn't even cutting in on angles or nothing.
So you
That's
didn't,
why
and
I
that's the key. That's why you wasn't getting that
Yeah.
tapered effect.
Something like that make our cut faster at state board.
It will. Again, timing. Now, I don't suggest you today, well, the week that you got to go take your test, you go out and just buy it because you never used it. I need you to get used to it first, so you know how they're working pretty
Did
much.
those scissors, that thing just clip on any pair of scissors, or is that?
No,
is that scissors?
All right. All right. So again, come in here, make my parting. Place the tip of my fingers on my client's head. Now I roll and push my knuckles out here. Make my cut. All right. Next thing. Now, as I've made that cut, I come back, do the same thing. Grab some of my previous hair. And at this point, y'all, you're not trying to make stuff perfect. You're just trying to get to the cut. All right? See my previous cut, push my fingers out, make my cut. Turn my client, keeping my body in position, make my vertical parting.
How big would the parts be that you're taking?
Like I say, you can go about a 1/2 inch apart. Again, I see where my guide is already, all right? And all I'm doing is walking my way back. Push my knuckles out, make my cut. So now, when I go and comb this hair, you see how it's flowing, right? It's flowing right back into the direction in which I need it to grow, all right? Or flow. Come on down. Make my parting. Find my guide. Push my fingers out. Make my cut. All right? Now you notice I'm just focusing right here in the parietal ridge area. I'm not worried about down low. All right? Because I already used that with my guide. So I can really use my one guard or no guard and just clean up down low. Okay? So I'm focused on the area that I need to be tapered to tie my sides and my top together. And I'm gonna show y'all again how we're gonna do that. Tie that right together. Comb out, find my guide. See my guide under this longer hair. Make my cut. Actually, these, sure, they cut pretty,
Yeah, they popping off.
they pretty good, cutting pretty good, man. For the price of them, I thought they would be a little cheaper cutting.
You use those at skateboard?
You can use any tools at skateboard, really,
But is it gonna,
but it's what you're comfortable with
is it
using.
gonna take points off?
I wouldn't use them because they probably never even seen these.
I was gonna say.
You don't want nothing that's gonna attract attention from them.
And they come and looking at you.
You know what I'm saying? You want to be invisible in there. You don't want them, but if they see you with some, oh man, now they all in your face and they calling other inspectors, hey, y'all come up, y'all seen these before? Now you got the other students kind of looking and So stay safe. Stay safe. All right, coming here, combing my hair out again. Now I'm keeping it at a 45, bend my fingers, make my cut. Now you see all this is starting to flow right together, right?
Once you hit the middle, the back of the head,
Shifting to the other side.
Can we see the other side real quick before
All right, so you see the other side. Now, again, I'm not worried about these longer parts. Don't worry about that. I'm worried about getting to my cut. So now I'm gonna work from the opposite way, which I do have to shift my body. All right. My cut. Now you see this time I'm coming from under. So if I'm coming under, I need to pull my fingertips out, not my knuckles. My knuckles is resting on the face, on the head. So now I pull my fingertips out at this point. All right, make my cut.
Is it the same concept versus the other side the way you did it?
It's the same concept, just changing your body. All right, just changing your body. Again, come here. You can come up or down, whatever's comfortable to you. Because I go here again and I pull my knuckles out instead of pushing my knuckles out. And I can still do the same thing, get my same cut. So it's what feels better to you. Another parting. You see the tapered effect. You see the angle. It's so much easier when you know where you're going at versus guessing.
And this is still just getting closer to that shape. We're not trying to get it to exact 2 inches yet.
Exactly, just bringing it down so you can start to see your tapered effect. All right, so now at this point, again, knowing that I have my all-purpose comb, this is what you're able to do as you're going on. Go back and check it, all right? You can put your shears down if need be. Just go back and check to make sure you're in a good position. All right? So I'm still at 2.5 over here. Still at 2.5 inches here. Come to the back part, right above the parietal ridge, right below, below the parietal ridge, right above the occipital. Measure. Still right at almost 3, right here. Now, this is where it starts to make the connect. If I'm 3, right here at the parietal ridge, right?
Mm-hmm.
What am I gonna be here?
3.
So what's gonna happen?
It's gonna flow. It's gonna lay down.
That's the flow. I'm connecting this 3 with this 3, and what's under the 3? And then what? 1.5 or 1. You see the tapered effect? You see what I'm talking about as far as how it's gonna form to be tapered. All right? Now again, let me go ahead and just keep checking. Again, good there. And this is gonna save you, when you go and check it, add this into your timing as well, because if you don't, and you're just guesstimating throughout that whole cut, you're gonna have another level of anxiety on you at the same time, because you're gonna be wondering, man, is it too short? Am I cutting it too short? Is it too short? So stop and check. Don't get so caught up in your time that you can't stop and check, right? It's one of those cases what we was talking about, just like a carpenter. Measure twice, cut once, all right? Again, coming on over to the side.
Are you timing yourself too, like in your own watch?
I haven't, because I knew I wouldn't be talking with y'all, so I
No,
wouldn't.
I mean in
Do
the
they
stable.
time it?
I'm talking
Oh,
about
you,
the
yeah,
stable.
you can do it. Yeah, you can time yourself on
You
your,
don't have your phone yet.
but you know what?
Or like-
I wouldn't mess with it. I would not mess with no watches, because you can't have like
Got the door out.
the watches and phone, Apple watches and phones and stuff like that. You can't even have that in the testing site, right? So I wouldn't even try to
Can
play
you
that
see
game.
where you're at as far as timing goes?
Yeah, they got a clock,
Okay.
You know what I'm
can
saying?
have a regular,
You can't
like
have
a
any
regular
analog.
analog watch.
yeah.
Like if you got a regular analog watch, but anything looking like a watch, a smart watch or something, I wouldn't even put myself in that position. All right, so I go and measure that.
Oh, okay.
Again, I'm right at like 2.5 on the sides. Back here, again, my 3. So now that's where I'm gonna connect my top and my sides at. All right. So at this point, as a matter of fact, because I want to show y'all as I'm doing this, I ain't gonna hold back on it. I'm gonna show y'all as I'm doing it. All right. So at this point, as I come down and I go and I kind of shake it, trying not to make the top part fall out. You see what we got happening?
Yeah.
What we got happening?
That light bulb.
It's starting to come. So now imagine when I drop that 3 down at the top, that 3 inches on top. It's gonna be almost like a perfect light bulb. And we haven't even did the detail of the cut yet. You see what I'm saying? But at least at this point, I feel good with where I am at the state board and going forward.
So we could do that in the middle of the.
Yeah, it's your man. This is, look,
didn't
I'm
know
telling
we
you
could
this
do
so
it
that you
all.
can do it. Even though they're going to do it, you go ahead and do it.
Right.
Most people don't know that what they're going to do, but what they're going to tell you, oh no, you can't check your mannequin. This is how I cross check. This is my way of cross checking. They can't tell you how to cross check your mannequin work. All right. So the only thing is, are you gonna have the time to cape him back up?
Right.
All this is going to play a factor of your timing. All right. So now, like I say, I feel pretty good about my sides. Now, we're not done with the sides. I just feel good with where we at with the sides. All right, so I can even now at this point where I feel pretty good with them sides, now I can go back with my comb. And again, now I can just start pretty much just tapering it. It's gonna flow back. My sides. Again, if y'all notice, I'm holding my comb always at an angle whenever doing clip over comb. If I go in with it straight and cut, what's gonna happen? It start creating lines, right? And we don't wanna create the lines when doing tapers, right? We want a nice transition. So I keep it at the angle. That way I'm cutting my hair from that shorter and still keeping it long. If I go in and cut here, I'm cutting everything at a blunt cut, all right? Which is not what I wanna do. Working my way around. Oh
So
boy.
you always want to use it at an angle.
Yeah.
Always wanna use it at an angle.
what haircut.
Now, you can, when it's shorter on the side, you can use it sideways as, you know, as horizontal to make little cleanups. But when cutting long hair, you always wanna make sure that you're using it at another, you know, angle. Can somebody give me another comb? Now, mind you, I would have at the state board at least 2 or 3 of those combs with me. Every comb that I'm gonna use, I would have at least 2 or 3 with me. If that happens, again, slide that to the side, pick up your next one, and keep right on moving. All right? No, flat top.
Hey, in my bag, in my zipper bag right there in the very front
I
pouch.
didn't
I don't
know.
know where mine's at. Somebody got mine.
I didn't know we could turn the mannequin upside down. I just figured that we wouldn't be able to do that to a real client. So
But at the end of the day, that's how you're checking your progress or your work.
I know now.
Right? Now, like I said, but if you know that you're cutting at this level, you shouldn't even have to turn it around because you already know your angles and your lengths that you're cutting. All right, appreciate it. You see what I'm talking about? If I know that I'm using my proper guides and my proper angles, I shouldn't have to worry about that. Especially when I go and check it and I say, okay, I got 3 here, 2 here, 1.5. I know that it's tapered. You see what I'm saying? All right, so I'm come to the opposite side here. Do the same thing, roll in, roll out. Come around the ear. Snatching on these teeth. All right, so now even here around the ear, I can go and take my tool. I don't have to grab the trimmer. I can just take my tool, make sure I find where my ear is. Keep my tool at this angle. Now, as you see, I can get to the top of the ear, and that hair is doing what?
Running.
It's running. So how do I stop it from running?
Go the opposite.
Roll my tool, rest it right, rest my finger on my ear, come the opposite way. Come the opposite way, the hair can't run from you. Now mind, this hair is still a little bit down. All right, so I'm gonna block it off because they're gonna want you to block off at the sideburns. All right, so I'm just kind of shaping it. Do the same thing on the other side, just to stay in unison.
You said block off the sideline?
Yeah, you're gonna have to block your sideburns off.
So that's the only real line we're really putting
Yep.
this whole here.
You don't have to worry about no edge up or anything like that. Now, you don't have to, but you do. I would bring them. All right, so even though that I'm using my trim, I can also, again, if I want to get to it, I use my shears and do the same thing as far as cutting around that ear. All right, so you can use your shears to go and make that cut around the ear.
That's a little safe.
Roll in. And again, still haven't did my neckline taper because I'm gonna taper that out back here. But right now, I got my sides. I feel pretty good with where my sides are. So now what we're gonna do?
We're gonna talk.
Top.
Connect the top. Connect my top. And get to the point of getting used to covering your client's eyes when you start using your water, especially if it's one of these continuous spray bottles. Sometimes you stop spraying and then you go move it and it's still spraying right in the client's face. And with this one, like I said, I just have it. I use it as a towel spray because you might smell the little aroma in the water, but just something, like I said, as a towel spray. Just combing it through. All right, so now I got my top down. So now I'm getting ready to connect my top because I already know where my tooth starts at, right? Where do my tooth start at?
Parada Ridge.
Right at the parietal ridge. So I know where the tooth start at. So now being that I know where that tooth start at, this is the point where you comb through and just find your placement. Now I'm gonna comb this half forward. Gotta come in here just to kind of find my placement. So now I can start using this as my what?
Guide.
Find my guide, start using this as my guide. So now I go here. Now look, so y'all can see what I'm talking about. When I comb it out, what are you seeing? And that guide, what was the length of my guide?
Two.
Right, no, at the top of the parietal ridge.
2.5.
2.5, 3, right? Because now that 2.5 ties right into the 3. So I would make that cut there, but I'm gonna comb it forward, then I'll show you how we're gonna do it. All right? Because this hair is naturally flowing back. I'm gonna just comb it all forward for you, because I know that's the way y'all used to seeing us make our apartments. Adjust that chair because I need to. So I got 1 or 2 ways I can do this. I want to go the fast and the easy way. So I'm gonna go right to my crown or the apex. I'm gonna go to my apex. Go back, and I'm gonna make my measurement. That's my 3. Actually, I could have just been using this. All right, so this is my 3, but I'm gonna just go a little bit above the 3. So I know this right here is 3. So I can really use this for my guide all the way through and through, all right?
So you created a new guy, correct?
It ain't a new guide that I'm creating. I'm just cutting this because I know this is 3 or right at 3 inches. So anything below this, you in trouble. All right? Anything below this, you are in trouble. So again, come, make my landing strip still. Now, like I said, his hair is flowing back, so it's not going to be as easy to make that landing strip. You're gonna have hair like this right here still falling over or trying to fall over, which is okay. All right, so I'm gonna come out, grab some from my guide, which is here. Roll my fingers out, make my cut. Start working my way back. Same thing. See the guide? And you don't have to grab as much hair as I'm grabbing either. But I see my guide. Make my cut. Again, find my guide. Make my cut. Find my guide. Make my cut. Now, you see when you comb it back, how it starts to all just start to flow right together. All right? Again, now I can continue to come through and just use my guide of that 3 inches right at the top of the parietal ridge. So I already know I'm cutting anything outside of that.
Could you do a scissor over comb for that top?
Like I say, you can do whatever you want, whatever makes you comfortable. Now I'm coming over to my opposite side because I'm coming right up off of the parietal ridge. So I need to wet the hair because it's starting to dry out. If you feel the hair starting to dry out, again, go ahead and wet it. Because it changes up your cut from cutting dry hair and then versus cutting the wet hair. All right, that's all looking good. Work my way. See my guide? All right, make your cut. The whole key to this, y'all, is like you say, just keeping your guide. If you keep up with your guide, you'll be all right.
Mr. Lee, why is this haircut chosen for the board?
I have no clue.
Is it because it's the most most complicated, most
Anything.
common?
I have no clue. They've been talking for years about changing it up because this is not the typical cut that men are getting today.
What would they change it to? Like a taper?
It's different cuts, yeah, taper, fade.
Say,
They got different ones that they talking about changing it to.
What if they use this, cause this is supposed to use all the tools in your repertoire?
Yeah, you're supposed to, yeah.
I just think 30 minutes for this is.
See, you used to have an hour. Like I say, you used to have an hour until COVID, and then that changed. You know what I'm saying? It changed everything.
I mean, what, do you just, at the end of it, if you're not done, you just SOL?
SOL. But when you do this enough, and like you say, you know what you're doing. Honestly, y'all, without me talking to you guys, this could have been done. Because my way, I'm showing y'all this way, but I would have used straight guards. I would use probably, like I say, that 8, 7, or 8 on the side, and then just went on and tied everything in with my shears. Right?
That's how my brother Jim taught me and trying to teach me that way, just using the guards.
It's easier.
In the end, you shear it out.
Yeah, and then you just go ahead and tie everything back together. Off here, I know I'm still more than 3 inches, so I'm still in my safe zone. Especially, like I said, coming off the back of the head. Because what I do see is this.
Yeah, the little bit. Yeah.
And so I'm envisioning this a whole head of hair coming just like this. All right?
Those curved scissors would be good for that,
But a curved on straight hair, it might throw you off.
right?
It might throw you off. All right? So now I'm gonna go back, these here, and I'm gonna just put on my 1.5 guard. Just kind of taper out my neckline. I'm gonna go open first.
so you ain't even dig it in. You just.
Nope, you
flick
see
it
I'm
out.
flaring out. Flaring it out. So that's open. I'm staying low. That's open. Now I'm gonna go close. The key to your taper is stay below that parietal, the occipital. Flip over comb.
You said stay
Again,
below the-
I can go here. You remember I was talking about keeping it horizontal or at the angle? Here I can go horizontal and I can do this. Go in with my comb, roll out. You see the angle. Make my cut. Now I'm gonna start to go ahead and detail my cut. Start tying everything together pretty much. If I keep my comb at an angle, it has no choice but to cut the hair at an angle. See this here. Go in from the side and I roll my comb out. That's gonna be an angle, right? Till I run out of hair on each side.
so you wouldn't want to starting off like that with the debug, like how you turned your.
You can, but again, it's totally up to you how you want to start it. Yeah, get your little cheap ones in. You ain't gotta, just to get your motions going. So you don't gotta spend a lot of money on the mannequins.
You gotta open doing that right there.
Yeah, because I don't want to, like I say, go too close.
Right.
Now, I can go in here and just kind of, the bottom below the parietal ridge and below the occipital and parietal ridge, I'll go in and just do regular shear work. Just kind of tie this off. And no matter what, how I grab this hair now, it's tapered. No matter what, it's tapered. These shears here is whack. See how everything is pretty much going to the tapered effect now. Check it one more time, and then I want to check my lengths. Now, I can go back here and still do a little bit more work, but I don't need to. Because what am I looking for? Taper. I ain't trying to make a perfect cut. They're not looking for a perfect cut. Or the cut for the man to just get up and go to a business meeting. They looking for the technique. That's what they're looking for, your techniques and seeing how you perform within those techniques. All right? Let's see what we're looking like.
Yes, sir.
Do we got our angle?
Yep.
Even though this is longer than 3, it might be 3.5, but I'm still safe because I started out with what? 6, and they want to see a drastic change, right? So it can't be 3.5, then you come to a 3. They want to see a drastic change. So I had 6 inches up here, but now I may be down to like 3.5. I'm gonna check it again. I might be at like 3.5 now, but I'm still safe. On my sides, I'm still safe with my 2. And down at my bottom area, I'm still good with my 1 and 1.5. All right, so that's the idea that we're looking for. And you can see the taper now. I can go in. Go right at the apex again. It's getting bad, y'all. It's getting bad. Let's see over there. Oh, I can see it on this cone. All right. So I'm at 5. I still can bring this down more, but do I need to?
No.
So what's that one rule that we say in here a lot of times?
Can always take it off, can't put it on.
Leave well enough alone. Don't sit there, put yourself in a position where you start second guessing and you could really be done. I have to go ahead and do this. Now you can sit there and put yourself in a position where you really done screwed up and it's a point of no return now. So can this be our state board haircut?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it can. Just how it is.
So the minimums are the minimum, like you can't go any shorter on the top of 3 inches.
You can't go any shorter than 3 inches on the top.
Okay.
All right. So long as you stay within that range. Now, like I said, we was at 6 and we brought it down to even 5.4, but they would consider that still good, right? Long as you're not down at that 3 inches or below that 3 inches, that's when it's a whole different ball game for you then.
So
All
from
right.
6 to 5, that's considered a drastic change for them?
6 to a 5, it ain't drastic, but it's changed. They'll know it's changed. But you want to make it look like a change. Now, he don't look like the same guy that walked in the door,
No.
right? It don't look like the same guy that walked in the door. So that's what they want to see. Even if it's not all the way down at 3, but still, you know clearly this guy just got a haircut. You know what I'm saying? You know he just got a haircut. That's not even a question. Did he just get a haircut? All right? So again, it's a lot simpler than what I think y'all think it is. Y'all overthinking a lot. But again, if I would have took the high guard 8, came around them sides, all the way off the parietal ridge, round the sides, and then wet the top, could have been done 20 minutes ago. All right? But the more that you practice it, I wanted to show y'all pretty much what you're gonna be looking for. Because if you don't know what you're looking for, you don't know where you're going. Right? So what are we looking for on the top? No less than 3.5. I meant 3 inches. What are we looking for at the parietal ridge?
2.
No less than 2.
No less than 2. What are we looking for below the parietal ridge? 1.5 or 1. Because the neckline here is going to be tapered all the way out. You can't ball. It used like with the staple. It used to be a bald taper fade in the back, but you can't ball the mannequin because you're gonna see the stitching. So now they just say, just make sure it's tapered down.
And then you had did the bottom like with the guard open, with the leverage open, and you just flipped out.
And the thing that I didn't do at this point, like I said, I didn't blow dry it
Right.
and then go back. That's how I can fine tune. When I blow dry this, then I can go in and fine tune everything. Because if I keep trying to fine tune with my clippers, the hair wet, it's gonna keep pushing the hair.
Right.
But if it's dry, I can go in and I can fine tune all these little imperfections. I can go in and fine tune with drying the hair. All right?
Are we allowed to blow dry it?
Yeah. Yep. So again, y'all, state board haircut is not as hard as you really think it is. All right? And yeah, I know I could have again. All right, Ms. D, you got clients today too, huh?
Yeah.
All right, I'll see you later.
Have a good day.
All right.